Hey guys, here we are discussing some important PlayStation topics, and the Xbox exclusive Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and the new trailer for Black Myth Wukong that was released, which features massive boss fights and scenarios, and some other news on CD Projekt Red, GTA 5 and Crash Bandicoot, and some GTA remake news of older games. So before jumping into all of the topics, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, click the notification icon for knowing more interesting and informative topics, mainly from PlayStation, and follow me on Twitter. So let's jump in.
We gotta shake that truck! Working on it!
At first we have the PlayStation news as Sony files a new patent, which further creates some speculation that the PS5 DualSense controller may be getting back button attachment. According to a patent filed by Sony, fans might soon be able to upgrade their DualSense controllers with a back button that adds more features. This wouldn't be the first time that PlayStation fans have seen something like this, as the DualShock 4 controller for PS4 had something very similar, but it is the first mention of a new design for the current generation of gaming. Though patents like this are typically somewhat difficult to read, a lot can be learned by examining it, and more can be inferred by looking at the previous rendition of a back button for PlayStation gaming. It should be said that Sony hasn't made any kind of announcement about a PS5 DualSense back button, so this is technically not official yet. The existence of a patent implies that it's something the company is considering and maybe even working on, but this is by no means a guarantee of this product coming to players in the near future. Officially referred to as a controller add-on device with customizable presets, the images filed with the patent show that this is indeed some type of back button. In terms of the back button already on the market for the DualShock 4 controller, it has two primary functions. Since it adds two more mappable buttons to the back of the controller, competitive players can use it to perform certain inputs faster and with greater ease. Perhaps more important than this, though, is its application for disabled gamers. Sometimes it can be difficult for disabled gamers to make use of the spread-out buttons of PlayStation controllers, and this helps with that. Aside from being made specifically for the DualSense controller, it doesn't look as though it will function much differently. More likely than not, it will add at least two new buttons to the controller, and since they are customizable, players should be able to map them to anything they want. The DualShock 4 back button was very popular, so it's likely that this one will perform well too. Though this isn't a huge surprise, the timing of these releases does seem strange. Sony released the DualShock 4 back button in January of 2020, just a few short months before the reveal of its next-generation DualSense controller. These PS5 controllers don't support the back button already on the market, and it feels like a lot of extra work for everyone to have a separate one for the DualSense as well. And as a latest news, the PS5 DualSense controllers are drifting, as have been complained by some users, which is similar to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift. So, I personally want the DualSense control to be improved, and to be made better for it to become the best controller of all time. As we talk about the DualSense, I have to mention the Crash Bandicoot 4, which is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch in March with some enhancements like the DualSense upgrade for the PlayStation 5. One of 2020's biggest surprises was Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, the canonical follow-up to Naughty Dog's Crash Bandicoot Warped for the PS1. The game is the first new title from Activision and Toys for Bob in the Crash Bandicoot series since 2010's Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant, following the 2017 remake of the first three entires, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. The game released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in October 2020 to critical and commercial success. Now, Activision has announced that the game will be coming to the next generation of consoles, Nintendo Switch, and PC this year. Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time returned to the original linear 3D platforming gameplay of the original PS1 Crash Bandicoot titles, retconning the events of entries such as Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex, Crash Twinsanity, and Crash of the Titans. Alongside Crash, playable characters included Crash's sister Coco, villains Dr. Neo Cortex, Dingodile, and a reinvention of the classic character Tawna Bandicoot, which each featured their own unique skills. The game's story followed Crash and Coco traveling between universes to defeat classic villains Dr. Neo Cortex and Dr. Nefarious Trophy. While the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game hold up excellently, Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time will be making the jump to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X on March 12, 2021, and will feature full 4K resolutions at 60 frames per second. The game will also be releasing on Nintendo Switch on the same day, joining in Sane Trilogy and Spyro Reignited Trilogy of the tradition of releasing late on the platform. Furthermore, the game will also arrive on PC via Battle.net in 2021. Pre-orders of the next-gen versions will be priced at $59.99, while the Nintendo Switch and PC releases will cost $39.99. Owners of the PS4 and Xbox One versions of Crash Bandicoot 4 will be happy to learn that upgrades to the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of the game will be free of charge, which comes as a relief after games such as Sega's Judgment have foregone such upgrade paths. The PlayStation 5 version of Crash Bandicoot 4 will also take advantage of the DualSense controller's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, with Activision claiming fans will now be able to feel the force of Neo Cortex's DNA-changing blaster and experience the grip as they grapple with Tawna's hook shot. The next-generation upgrades will also improve the game's loading times and introduce 3D audio to the game. This release of Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time is intended to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the franchise, which Activision has promised tons of fantastic festivities throughout 2021 to celebrate. The art book released to coincide with the game has also teased that developer Toys for Bob may be currently developing a new Spyro the Dragon game.
Car! I'm faster! Stop arguing! Watch out!
Now let's take a look at a sneak peek news image released by Ninja Theory on Twitter. Developer Ninja Theory seems to be deep in the weeds of development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 if some recent teases from Hellblade's lead actress and the development team are any indication. Recently, the official Twitter account shared a new photo from the upcoming sequel to 2017's award-winning psychological thriller that gives fans a sneak peek at some possible next-generation lighting being worked on for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. While the information is scarce and pretty vague, Ninja Theory stopped in on Twitter to share with fans a brand new image from Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Ninja Theory's tweet mentions the picture is taken from a cinematic lighting experiment. While the image is impressive, and gives fans a look at something they can expect from the upcoming title, it's lacking any new details of the game or whether this experiment was made using Unreal Engine 5 which Hellblade 2 is being developed on. Since Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 was revealed in 2019 at the Game Awards, alongside the first appearance of the Xbox Series X, Ninja Theory has been very quiet regarding the title. Small bits of news have come from the studio through social channels and via YouTube videos, but nothing substantial, and no trailer to follow up the surprising reveal from 2019. This new lighting experiment picture shared on Ninja Theory's Twitter account is the first time fans have seen footage from the second game in quite some time. Although development on the game has been rather quiet, Ninja Theory has busy developing the highly anticipated sequel along with another game, Project Mara. Project Mara was first shown off in January of 2020, and was said to be a grounded representation of true mental terror. Recently, Ninja Theory released a dev diary that shows off the advanced graphics of Project Mara, in which the team is using to deliver a real lifelike apartment where the art team is aiming to capture reality obsessively. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is likely Ninja Theory's next game to release, followed by Project Mara down the line. Ninja Theory recently ended all future support for its more recent title, Bleeding Edge, which released last year. While the decision seemed rather quick, Ninja Theory appears to be ramping up development on Hellblade 2, doubling the team's size from the first game, and shifting to focus more on Project Mara, which seems to need more experimental development to capture the experience the team is striving to deliver. As Xbox gamers look forward to the game to be a rival to one of the PlayStation exclusives, the heat is just started to burning.
And then you would get more and more adventurous. And you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now.
One of the surprise reveals of 2020 game from Chinese development studio Game Science Interactive Technology, and its debut game, Black Myth Wukong. Based on the classic 16th century novel, Journey to the West, players control Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, in a third-person action-adventure experience that pulls gameplay from games like Dark Souls. The debut trailer captured the attention of fans thanks in large part to the impressive visuals, even in a pre-alpha state. The trailer quickly went viral, grabbing nearly 2 million views on YouTube and 10 million on the Chinese video site known as Bilbil in just 24 hours, while also becoming a massive headline story across the internet. However, what may have been more impressive is that the 13-minute footage was originally uploaded to attract additional employees to help the small team rather than gaining popularity. While the game went dark shortly after, it has resurfaced once more to celebrate the Chinese New Year with an all-new trailer that focuses on previously unseen game footage and mechanics. While 10 minutes shorter, this latest trailer is much more cinematic in showing various shots of the landscape, mixed with an orchestral backing score. The world depicted in the trailers appears dusty and desolate with plenty of ruins, dried-up plants, and animalistic creatures ready to attack players. It's worth noting that the developer makes it clear that this Black Myth Wukong trailer was made specifically to celebrate Chinese New Year, and does not actually represent the plot. Still, the highlight of the trailer for many is the fluid combat, as Sun Wukong takes on a variety of enemy types from smaller rat-like creatures, to massive bosses that tower over the landscape such as the impressive-looking ox creature. In addition to dodging and parrying attacks, the trailer also shows off a number of magical abilities, including what appears to be an electrical-based attack, a stasis ability to slow enemies, cinematic finishers, as well as the numerous transformation powers. According to the developers, players can expect around 15 hours of Wukong when it launches in no less than 3 years, with the game seemingly being split into levels such as Black Mountain, the area fans first got a glimpse of in the trailer. It seems replayability will be a big factor, however, with Game Science revealing that players can approach levels in different ways depending on their playstyle. For instance, in the recent trailer, Game Science decides to transform into a golden cicada to avoid some tough enemies, yet, players can wade into battle against them if they so desire. Speaking of the game's foes, the interview also reveals that over 100 enemy types will be present in the game, with IGN confirming that the astounding number includes the title's intimidating boss encounters. Alongside revealing these new gameplay details, Game Science also talks more about the title's story, telling players that it'll look to present a gritty take on Journey to the West, featuring a more complex, dark version of the tale of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King escorting a monk with a sacred scroll. Those wondering if the game's interesting setting and tone will spin off into anything else down the road, Game Science was very upfront about the far-flung future, claiming it sees Wukong as the beginning of a trilogy. Allegedly, each game will focus on a different Chinese tale, with the studio envisioning Black Myth as a wide universe of stories not unlike the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Based on the response to the first gameplay footage, the marketing effort for new talent appears to have paid off for Game Science. The latest trailer hints that the team is growing with new talent, though the game is still under development and does not yet have a release date or targeted platforms. It's clear that Game Science founder Feng Ji will stop at nothing short at perfection, however, as they were very critical of the debut gameplay, going as far as highlighting all of the issues in the 13-minute trailer he intends to fix. Either way, Feng Ji promised the team was happy about the popularity, but doesn't intend to let it go to their heads, as Black Myth Wukong is currently in development for PC and unspecified for console platforms like the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. All in all, it's great to hear more news about Black Myth Wukong, especially after the game delivered such a striking trailer. Game Science is evidently onto something great, and these new details seem to reinforce that it's a project to watch over the next few years. When it comes to the Grand Theft Auto series, the question on everyone's minds is when the inevitable Grand Theft Auto 6 will be announced. There have been numerous rumors that it will be announced after the remastered version release of Red Dead Redemption 1, supposed leaks and theories surrounding it, but none so far have come to any fruition. More recently though, there have also been rumors of Rockstar Games remastering the PlayStation 2 era GTA games Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It would make a lot of sense for Rockstar to do this. The likes of Crash Bandicoot N, Sane Trilogy and Spyro Reignited Trilogy have already proved that updated remasters can be critically and commercially successful. What's more, Grand Theft Auto 3 is but one of many games that has a major anniversary this year, specifically its 20th, so it's the perfect opportunity to at least remaster that game. During a recent earnings call, an investor asked Take-Two, Rockstar's parent company, about the possibility of remasters of older Grand Theft Auto games. According to GameSpot, they even specifically pointed out how there are likely plenty of Grand Theft Auto 5 players who never experienced the older titles, and remasters would be a great way to profit off those newcomers. Unsurprisingly, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick didn't properly answer the question, saying that he was inclined to leave it as more of a statement than a question, and that any official announcements about future Rockstar products will come from Rockstar itself. However, he did call the question great and encouraging, which could suggest that remasters are already being considered, and the investor's question is evidence that they are worth releasing. It's important to note that Take-Two and Rockstar aren't exactly in a position where they need to release remasters. Both Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online continue to be incredibly profitable for the companies, with the former breaking another milestone by shipping more than 140 million units since launch. According to Canadian video game journalist Jeff Keithley, Grand Theft Auto 5 has now sold in excess of 140 million units since its launch in 2013. Beyond that, 2020 was Grand Theft Auto 5's best year since its launch. The game sold over 20 million copies last year. That's more copies than in any year since 2013. Though this isn't too surprising, since Grand Theft Auto Online had its highest earning month ever back in December. And that number will no doubt go up once both it and GTA Online release for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. With numbers like that, it's almost no wonder that Rockstar has been tight-lipped about Grand Theft Auto 6 when it's under no pressure to get it out ASAP. This long silence is likely why fans are so desperate to latch onto any information that pops up online. Aside from some players believing there are hints about its release date in GTA Online, supposed leaks have frequently been shared, claiming things like a female protagonist and a similar story structure to Red Dead Redemption 2. Grand Theft Auto is a series with a storied history in gaming, being one of the best-selling and most popular game series of all time. Originally releasing in 1997 with the first Grand Theft Auto, which was quite different than the titles that would follow it. It had a top-down perspective and involved completing missions to try and get as many points as possible in each level. The series has always courted controversy, from the violence of the early games, to the hot coffee mod, to Grand Theft Auto Online's more recent use of $100 microtransactions. At least some of these, especially the hot coffee controversy, probably helped to propel sales of the series. Grand Theft Auto didn't really take on its modern form until Grand Theft Auto 3, which was released in 2001. This is great news for Grand Theft Auto developer Rockstar Games, and for the Grand Theft Auto series as a whole. More sales means more money, and more money means Rockstar will continue making more Grand Theft Auto content for fans. And the $500 million Grand Theft Auto Online has generated so far will probably mean a lot more content to come. Of course, this all begs the important question, when is Rockstar going to finally release Grand Theft Auto 6? Fans can't keep buying Grand Theft Auto 5 forever. And with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S having released just last year, now is the perfect time the next-gen Grand Theft Auto title, one that will hopefully learn a few lessons from Grand Theft Auto 4. So that's all for the video, guys. If you are interested in the news and my content, support my channel and follow me on Twitter. And until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.
你若进了这道门，便回不了头啦！